I wanted to share a story because God is good. So I've been a Christian for about 3 years. I've given my heart to the Lord, and it was actually before I'd even given my heart that I'd heard the concept of like you could pray for a car and God gave you a car. And I was just like, that's cool. I want a car. I'm going to pray for a car. I don't even know if God exists, but I'm going to pray for a car. And so like I've been praying for a car for a very long time, about 3 years. So let's just put that story there. It's been quite an interesting year, staffing, learning what it means to serve in a way where there's no visible remuneration. I actually pay to live here, and I serve 40 hours a week plus, and there's no visible or secular worldly remuneration, I guess. There's no payment, there's no kickback or anything. So it's been quite an interesting year of learning how to serve and be humble, I guess. And I'm not saying I'm humble, I'm really not. I'm still working on it, but we try, and God gives us opportunities to learn how to be humble. And so yeah, it's been a really interesting year, and I feel like the Christmas period and the first 4 or 5 months of the year have been really hard, where I've been trying to work really hard and trying to do everything and trying to make it on my own, and then realizing my relationship with God is not okay. It's not in a place where I want it to be, and so that's been a really hard time for me in that respect. But in that, in amongst all this, oh, I'm such a bad person, I'm such a bad Christian moments, I'm getting all these amazing gifts, right? So number one is I got a free iPad. That was fun. So that's what's making this amazing quality video right now, is this super clear quality that is probably more than I would like, but that's okay. There's this little iPad. So the warehouse actually had this program where they were saying if we did 10% more than our budgeted target, what they say we should sell in the Christmas quarter, that every member of that team would get a free iPad. And we were like, oh yeah, whatever, but I'm gonna work really hard, just in case that happens, because I want the iPad. And so we were all working really hard for this iPad. And then we get to the end of our quarter, and the boss is like, we didn't quite make that 10%. It's not gonna happen, sorry guys. And we were all gutted, but that's fine, whatever. A couple of weeks later, we get this email from head office saying, hey, you were 9 point something percent, and we've put it through, and your store is going to receive a free iPad. Every permanent member will receive a free iPad. Now, it took a long time for the iPads to come, because even Apple didn't believe that the warehouse were going to give them away free and not actually charge us or anything, but they did. And so I have a free iPad, which is so cool, because God is so good. And it was a hard time. It wasn't just yay, free gifts. It was wow, I'm really behind in my living costs right now. God, I could totally use $500 for my living costs, But I really felt like God was like, this is a blessing for you, and if you want to keep it, please don't feel like you have to sell it and you have to make the money for your living costs to keep it, because I can do that, and I will do that, and I will get the glory for that. So that was really cool. And so I have a free iPad, which is really fun. And then, so I have a friend who came back from staffing, and he had a bit of a break, and then he came back, and he's been on the site, and he was visiting his friends, and he comes home one night, and he's like, Ayla, I need to tell you something. I'm like, okay. God told me to buy you a car. I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, God told me to buy you a car. And I'm sitting here in my very cynical way, and I'm like, but you don't have a car. Why don't you buy you a car? That's weird. Why would God do that? It makes no sense. And so I kind of freaked out for a lot. And then when I was talking to God about it, God was like, I told him to buy you a car. I didn't tell him to buy it for you now. And you're pretty much not going to get it until you learn to receive love, because why would I give you gifts of love if you're not going to receive them as love? And so that was a bit humbling. But then I worked really hard I'm trying to receive love, which was fun. And then I had a staff retreat. No, I didn't. That's a lie. I had a retreat, just my own personal retreat in May, where I was like, I'm done. Need some time, just me and God. Let's go. And so I'm just like having some time to myself and like reading these amazing books and reading the Bible, of course, and just doing some stuff for just me and God. And on the third day, I felt like God spoke to me very clearly. And it was annoying because I was asking him what he wanted to talk about, and then I didn't want to talk about that at all. But he said to quit the warehouse. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. I have expenses going out, and I don't have enough money as it is with working at the warehouse. Why would I quit? It's not going to happen. No way. Talk about something else. Let's talk about the weather. Hey, how's the weather over there? But no, he was really persistent, and he was pretty much just like, quit the warehouse. And I was like, ugh. And so I pretty much did. That was on Friday. So on Sunday I quit the warehouse. And that was really hard, and I really didn't want to do it because the way I see it is if you don't work, you don't get money, right? But then God was like, yeah, but you are working. You're working more than your 40 hours a week, and you're working for me, and I will pay for everything you need. I will provide, you know? Matthew 6:33, I think it is, somewhere in there. And it's like, you know, the Lord will provide. To just trust in him, which is really cool. Anyway, so that was on Sunday I quit. And then on Monday, I received this, like, amazing donation come through, $700 plus. I was like, what the heck? I was like, where did this even come from? What's going on? And, you know, there's supporters of mine that have been faithfully supporting me for a few months now, and just felt like God was telling them to give this amount, you know, and so they did, which is amazing. I'm so thankful. But how cool is it that I got that donation the day after I quit, and the donation was for 700 plus, which 7 is the number of completion, right? So God's just proving and confirming that I'm hearing from him, and that I'm in his will, and that I'm doing what he asks, which is just such a blessing, such a blessing. Anyway, so a few weeks later, I'm talking to, like, you know, Dave and Linda, the important people, and, like, they're just discussing things, and next minute I'm like, get the opportunity to go to Vanuatu for 2 weeks, leaving tomorrow. I'm like, okay, sure, I can do that. Cool. And I felt like God had already been speaking to me about my new car, and I felt like he said, you're gonna get it in May 2015. And I was like, no, actually 2016. Gotta get the year right. Sure. Anyway, May 2016. And I felt like that was like all he said. And so I talked to my friend, and I was like, just so you know, I feel like God's saying I'm gonna get the car this month. And he was like, oh, that's interesting, because I got a donation this month, so let me go talk to him. And so, yeah, we decided to go and check that out, but then I ended up in Vanuatu until the 1st of June. So I was like, wow, you know, I just want a decent, reliable car. I don't know, Toyota Corolla, whatever, manual would be cool, whatever. Just ask God. He knows more than I do. And so I come home on the 1st of June, and I'm sitting there eating my dinner, and I'd seen this white car in the car park, and I was like, I don't know whose car that is. That could be my car, but don't think about it. No one's giving you a car yet. It's okay. Don't think about it. And so I was like, no, just eat my dinner. And so Abe's sitting here, and my other friend's sitting here. And, like, Abe's talking about, like, how crappy, like, my current car is. He's like, I was trying to drive it home, and, like, the indicators weren't working. I was like, yeah, that's because you had the hazard lights on, and the hazard lights don't actually work, but they stop the indicators from working. So you got to make sure you turn the hazard lights off. And he's just like, what the heck, man? Get a new car. And I was just like, oh, God, would you give me a new car? Like, making a joke out of it. And then my friend's like, well, actually, and, like, pulls keys out of his pocket, and I'm like, what the freaking heck, man? Like, and so I, like, freaked out. I, like, literally, like, moved, like, I don't know, like, 2 meters back, and I was just, like, sitting there, like, I don't know how to deal, not gonna look, I'm just gonna sit here and pretend that didn't happen, and I was just, like, almost hyperventilating, like, yep, don't know what's going on right now, but that's cool. Anyway, long story short, was given a car. Woohoo! It was so cool. And, like, it's this amazing little white Toyota Corolla, and it's like, it's even 2 years older than my first car, but it's so much fancier. Like, the inside is all pretty, and then it's like a manual, so I can, like, learn how to properly drive a manual, even though I've been driving manuals for a while now. But, you know, like, actually properly, like, know how to drive it and stuff. And then, yeah, it's just pretty and nice and flash and awesome, and I love it, and it's so cool. And God has just been so faithful. And it's like, in all these like little trials where I'm just like, oh, my life is so bad, like, you know, how can Jesus be close to me? Like, how can I be in his will? How can I be like learning right now? And I feel like such a terrible person, but that's just my flesh telling me that, you know, like God's still sitting there like, dude, I'm so pleased with you. Dude, I'm so happy with you. He doesn't even say dude to me. I just say that because I'm cool. But like, he's just so proud of me, you know, and he's just right there, and he's just so like lavishing his love upon me, and that's just something that I'm not used to having in this form, you know. It's so weird and foreign and crazy, and I'm not used to it. So I just wanted to share that with you and celebrate. I got a new car. Yay.